you so much.
Rakyat hidup bersatu dan maju, rahmat bahagia Tuhan kurniakan, Raja kita selamat bertakhta. Bahagia Tuhan kurniakan, Raja kita selamat bertakhta. Barukan wawasan harapanku, ragu bertiupu. Of drink together and brings the knowledge, light and glory. We are the pursuit of wisdom, of leadership. This is our promise. We shall stand side by side. In the hall of Lincoln, our open wide. Leaders of the foe, we shall go before. After all victory, stand as one entity. Leaders of the foe, stand like the guiding star. Raise the bar across the globe in unity. We raise the hope. Speak of those times across the globe. We are leaders of tomorrow. Lincoln's excellence forever seen. In unity we shall stand side by side. In halls of Lincoln hearts are open wide. Lincoln's the foes, reach the broken door. Like all victory, stand as one entity. Lincoln's of the bold, like a morning beautiful, stand like a legacy of burning star. We raise the bar across the globe, unity, we raise the hope.
Kindly be seated. Once again, welcome to our grand inauguration of the first conference on Asia Rising 2025. And let's put our hands together to welcome our President, Dr. Amia Baumik. So Dr. Amia Baumik will share a few words.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bexy. Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to all of you. I wish I could be here physically, but my responsibilities keeps me away. But however, the first ever conference on Asia Rising has been put it by Lincoln University and especially the team members, Dr. Bexy, your leadership, Prof. June and other team members have taken a very pragmatic approach to start. Now, every beginning will have lots of issues, but that doesn't mean it will deter you to stop moving in. When I proposed this particular topic to Dr. Bexy, took it up, and implemented. Now, why this is very important. As you open up various social media, news media, or TV media, electronic media, you will see all over the world, especially the so-called developed countries, they are facing challenges. Just yesterday, Trump called the Ukraine president and other European leaders to have meeting that how they can stop war. So if you look at these developed countries, they are very much in trouble, very much in stress. So economic development, these developed countries is very much stagnant. It is Asia and Africa is economically booming. UNESCO has declared that Malaysia is going to be the fourth educational hub in the world, and Malaysia is a part of Asia. In fact, Malaysia, we have a slogan, the truly Asia. And Malaysia, you will find now as America is putting the tariff increasing, the China, America, the trade relations, China, Europe, and other countries' trade relations are at stake because of tariff. And that's why Malaysia, the part of Asia, how this is rising. Those who are in Malaysia, you will see that how our current unity government has put together plans that Malaysia is going to be the center part of hub, be it education, be it economic, be it social, and that would be the central focus, not only for Asia, Africa, but the developed countries, they will come to Malaysia. As the theme of this particular conference, Asia Rising, and I have traveled more than 120 countries. Believe me that this century, 21st century, from now onwards, the Asia will dominate in the world. While Asia dominates in the world, the educational institutions have to play a very greater role in terms of social development. And the theme of today's and tomorrow's conference is more of various types of themes, such as diplomacy in international relations, performing arts, fashion design, psychological, and all types of these topics are very much part of our development. And therefore, the Asia Rising conference, today's conference, I'm sure many people will be talking many themes, but please remember, we educational institutions, we have a responsibility to create a social impact. And as Sustainable Development Goal, SDG, the United Nations 2030 Agenda, this Asia Rising will be playing a key role in UN Agenda 2030 in next 5 years. And I hope this conference theme will continue to grow year after year as Asia will be playing a dominating role in the world. So with this, I pray and wish the today's conference, various intellectuals will share their research, and those research papers are not only going to be simply a paper, but hopefully this can be a part of dominant role into Asia Rising. Thank you once again, especially the organizing committee for this particular conference. And I hope after the conference, you will do some postmortem so that you know advantages and disadvantages of this conference. You know what are the drawbacks, so that next time when you start again, not only Asia Rise, the conference organizations also rise. With this, thank you once again, and we pray that the entire humanity in this world continue to live in peace and harmony. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to our President, Dr. Ramya. These are his words of wisdom, a true Asian but relevant globally. So he's a global citizen, but he has his true identity in the Asian roots. Thank you so much, Dr. Ramya. Forthcoming, we also have the launching of our website, Community Lincoln, and also we have the launching of our conference. But before that, I would like to welcome our Pro Vice Chancellor of Lincoln University College, Professor Dr. Haji Bibi Florina Abdullah. Please welcome on stage, Professor.
Thank you, our this ceremony, Masuk ceremony. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all of you. A little apology, because of some little technical problem we are a little bit late. But I'm so happy to be here finally. So, founding president, I think you know, Professor Dr. Amia, and of course, Prof. Hatta, our DPC academic, Professor Dr. Datin Hafiza, and our Prodin, and all our distinguished guests and speakers, lecturers, and participants. It is an honor actually and a joy and a privilege to welcome you all to this significant gathering under the theme Asia Rising, a way forward towards a sustainable future. This is a very catchy slogan, a theme, and I'm just wondering, and hope that the deliberation this today and tomorrow will be very interesting and inspiring in accordance with this theme. So Asia today stands at a remarkable turning point. Once celebrated as the cradle of ancient civilization, our region is now recognized as a global leader in economic growth, technological innovation, education, and cultural influence. Truly, Asia is rising. But as we rise, we must ask ourselves, what future are we moving to? A sustainable future, as our founding president mentioned, I just happened to hear some, requires us to balance progress with responsibility, ensuring that growth uplifts not only economies, but also societies and the environment that sustains us. So development without sustainability is short-lived, but development anchored in equity, innovation, and a care for our planet creates a legacy for the generations to come. So allow me to highlight 3 principles I think that can guide our path forward. First is collaboration, our challenges actually, and climate change, food security, healthcare, and education do not respect borders, this thing. The strength of Asia lies in its diversity, and our greatest progress will come when we share knowledge, like today and tomorrow, forge partnerships, and rise together. Second, innovation with a purpose, not just innovation. So Asia is home to some of the fastest growing economies and most vibrant hubs of creativity. Yet, innovation must not only fuel industry, it must drive solutions like clean energy, digital inclusivity, sustainable cities, and resilient healthcare systems. Third, inclusivity means a truly rising Asia leaves no one behind, empowering our youth, especially students, advancing gender equality, uplifting rural communities, and giving voice to the marginalized will ensure that our progress is just and enduring. So friends, the future of Asia is not something we wait for. It is something we build. Each decision we make, each policy we adopt, and each partnerships we form will either bring us closer to a sustainable tomorrow or push us further away. So let this gathering of 2 days be more than a forum of ideas. Let it be a platform of action. Let it remind us that the rise of Asia is not only about economic strength, but also about moral responsibility to our people, to our planet, and to the generations that will follow. So with that vision in mind, it's my honor actually this morning to officially inaugurate Asia Rising, a way forward towards a sustainable future. May our deliberations today or tomorrow light the path toward an Asia that is strong, inclusive, and sustainable. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
I would like to request our Pro Vice Chancellor to stay back on stage as our Pro Vice Chancellor is going to launch our School of Social Science, Arts and Humanities website, which is Lincoln Community.
So I officially launched the what is it called? The
Website, community link.
oh, yeah, your website, not our website. Okay. This morning. Thank you very much.
News. The School of Social Science, Art and Humanities just launched its new website. Come, let's show us what's your opinion on our new website.
It enables us to stay connected and share ideas. Awesome.
Don't forget to visit our new website, communitylinker.com.my. Back to you, the next video.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bibi Florin Abdullah, our Pro Chancellor for Lincoln University College. Now, as we go along, we have a keynote speaker, Professor Dato Shivamurugan Pandian. I welcome our keynote speaker on stage to deliver his keynote address.
Thank you, Dr. Prexi, as the operator. Prof. Amia, if he's still around. Professor Dr. Bibi, Co-Chancellor. Professor Dr. Hafiza, Deputy Vice Chancellor. Professor Dr. Zulkarnain Hatta, a friend I've known for almost 21 years. And presenters, panelists, moderator, students, and everyone who are present at this hall today. A very good morning. First, allow me to express my gratitude to the organizer, especially Dr. Zulkarnain Hatta and the team, who have extended an invitation to be part of this conference today. It is an honor, it's a privilege to participate and to deliver keynote in this inaugural International Conference on Social Sciences 2025. The topic that was given to me is Asia Rising, a way forward towards a sustainable sustainable society. I can have my slides. It's okay if you want me to deliver without the slides, or but it'd be interesting to see the slides rather than my shining head here. I don't want to disrupt your early morning. At least Mr. Sophie have gray hair himself. It's okay, then I'll just proceed with all the slides. We're looking at Asia, which comprises about 40% of the GDP. We're also looking at, which includes the world's most populous nations, fastest growing economies, and most diverse societies. Tokyo to Jakarta, from KL to Delhi, from Bangkok to Manila, from Shanghai to Hong Kong. The cities are expanding. Digital networks are growing, opportunities are multiplying, yet with great power comes great responsibility. Asia must now be in creating a sustainable future, one that balances growth with equity, technology with ethics, and ambition with accountability. A climate emergency, threatening agriculture, health, coastal cities, growing inequality within and between nations, a fragile post-pandemic recovery, and also erosion of global trust and rising geopolitical tensions. We're looking at what Rabindranath Tagore said once: let us not pray to be sheltered from dangers, but to be fearless in facing them. We have to admit that the world is at crossroads. As the 21st century advances, pressing global challenges, as I said earlier, climate change, economic inequality, rapid urbanization, and resource depletion threaten to destabilize the progress achieved over decades of development. Nowhere in this tension between growth and sustainability more visible than in Asia. The continent's future is not merely regional, it is planetary. Of course, we are looking at how Asia stands, poised not only as a site of global challenge, but also of global solutions. The region is home to advanced green technology innovators, dynamic regional grouping like ASEAN, and long-standing civilizational values that can inspire a more holistic, human-centered approach to sustainable. Malaysia in particular has positioned itself as a microcosm of the Asian sustainability dilemma, rich in potential, vulnerable in exposure, and ambitious in its governance experience. We're looking at the Madani framework, the current government, which also looking at national energy transition and regional climate diplomacy, suggests a new pathway that blends economic pragmatism with moral responsibility, as what Professor Bibi has said earlier. It also highlights, if you're looking at the regional and national innovations, identifies key structural and political challenges, and considers how Malaysia as an emerging middle power which can lead by example. Of course, we are looking at Asia's rise must be sustainable, equitable, and values-driven, or it risks becoming unsustainable not only for Asia, but for the world itself. Despite the challenges, Asia is not starting from zero. We have to admit that. The reality is we've seen impressive strides. Japan and South Korea leading the hydrogen and electrical vehicle revolution. China have recalibrated its Belt and Road Initiative BRI to include green finance and clean energy infrastructure. India and Vietnam are deploying community solar and rural education as tools of empowerment. Also, we're looking at ASEAN, which is integrating the SDGs into national and regional frameworks, from the Mekong to the Straits of Malacca. These are not just policy shifts. They reflect a deeper realization that sustainability is not a Western ideal, it is a human necessity. We're looking at how environmental has its own strategy. How do we manage waste, conserve water, reduce carbon, save energy, and also shift to renewables by 2030? The dilemma is, we're looking at waste management. Can we reduce waste by 60% through recycling and compose carbon emissions? Whether this is very ambitious to implement carbon tracking tools and offset programs. Renewable energies, whether we're looking at 6% of energy used to solar by 2027. Of course, it is a contest between emissions versus investment. While Asia's carbon emissions remain high, green investment is also increasing across several countries. Vietnam, South Korea, and China have significantly raised green financing as a share of GDP. Malaysia, while still below OECD average, shows a positive trend under its NETR, which is named as National Energy Transition Roadmap. But investment alone is not enough. We must ensure accountability, transparency, and participation in how these funds are spent. We are looking at the structural challenges in Asia. Our pathway to sustainability is not without obstacles. First, governance fragmentation. There are uneven implementation of environmental laws, policy inconsistency, sudden U-turns due to political shifts happens nowadays. Third, inequity, disparities between richer and poorer ASEAN countries. And fourth, public trust deficit, especially among youth, where climate fatigue is growing. When we look at the contest between emissions and investment, Malaysia and Vietnam show the stateless investment increasing since 2023. We are also looking at China remains the largest emitter, but has also led green investment in absolute terms. Malaysia's investment per capita in energy transition has surpassed the ASEAN average in 2025. The Prime Minister, Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim, in 2024 United Nations General Assembly said, "We pursue growth not merely for economic metrics, but to uplift human dignity, justice, and shared prosperity. Malaysia's sustainable future must be anchored in moral clarity." The Madani approach is unique in Asia. It blends Islamic values, developmental pragmatism, and social inclusion. It appeals to both domestic and international audiences concerned with ethical leadership in an age of planetary uncertainty. If we are looking at Malaysia as a case study, we are looking at the Madani framework today, which integrates values of compassion, ethics, and inclusion. We're also looking at the National Energy Transition Roadmap, which aims to increase renewable energy by the end of this year to 31%. We're looking at EV solar carbon, focuses on EV solar farms and carbon trading, and now backed by policy. If you're looking at ASEAN, of course, we're looking at ASEAN taxonomy for sustainable finance, which aims to align investment across borders. Of course, we are also facing cross-border issues like haze pollution, which has led to coordinated, if imperfect, diplomatic engagements. We are looking at the Mekong River Cooperation platform, how this platform is another regional effort to protect shared ecological systems. And Malaysia, as a case study, played a key role in the formulation of the ASEAN Strategy on Carbon Neutrality, adopted in 2024. A share of the ASEAN Working Group on Climate Change, Malaysia pushed for alignment of carbon pricing mechanism, regional disaster response integration, and climate financing. At the 2024 United Nations Climate Ambition Summit, again, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim called for a new global compact on climate justice, arguing we need a new ethics of globalization, one where the South is not a victim, but a vanguard. Asia must rise not in competition, but in conscience. We're looking at how the vision has to support reforming global climate finance mechanism to include smaller developing states and increase access to loss and damaged funds. Again, the most promising agents of change in Asia are not politicians. We are looking at the youth leaders, civic society groups, and digital innovators. How the youth groups like Fridays for Future Malaysia have pushed for stronger climate change, civil society organization demanding accountability, forestry, mining, energy sectors. We are looking at AI, satellites, mapping and big data, how they are enabling better environmental monitoring. And empowering these actors is key to democratize sustainability. Again, the future belongs to the youth leaders. We couldn't say more because ASEAN's sustainability journey is not solely a governmental-led project. It is a vibrant ecosystem of youth activists, civic society organizations, and technological innovators that has emerged across the region, driving change from the ground up. We are looking at these groups are not only accelerating climate awareness, but also shaping public discourse, accountability frameworks, and policy priorities. In 2024, as I mentioned earlier, one of the youth group, Fridays for Future Malaysia, organized a nationwide campaign titled Futures We Deserve, mobilizing over 25,000 youths to demand transparent climate budgeting, anti-deforestation policies, and equitable energy access. This was complemented by digital campaigns linked climate justice to social justice, highlighting the interdependence of ecological, economic, and racial equity. We're looking at how we must listen to our youth, not just their protests, but their proposals. They speak the language of the future. And that's why youth voices are also being institutionalized. Malaysia's Youth Climate Council, launched in 2023, now serves as a formal advisory council to the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Sustainability. Its policy input on green curriculum reform and youth-centric innovation funding has already shaped the 2025 national budget. Beyond that, we are looking at Philippines, which have Haribon Foundation links biodiversity conversion with indigenous land rights. In Thailand, we have Anlotai advocates legal tools for environmental justice. These are the differences: Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, and Malaysia's own civil society. We're looking at how groups like Transparency International Malaysia, Third World Network, the WWF have also contributed policy critiques, green audits, and citizen charts. Crucially, the CSOs work not against government, but with it. The success of Malaysia's Low Carbon Cities Framework, LCCCF, lies in co-creation with local council, residents association, and green architecture networks. How can we be successful in forming sustainable society? We must have stronger SDG reporting systems. We must look at the metrics, which includes happiness index, well-being, access to green spaces, We are looking at high public trust in environmental policy and less dependence on fossil fuel subsidies. This must be monitored, not just by governments, but by universities, media, and civic platforms. Asia's contribution to global sustainability is not only material or policy-driven, it is also deeply philosophical and ethical. Civilizational traditions across the region offer rich reservoirs of wisdom that complement and often deepen Western ecological frameworks. This moral pluralism, you're looking at the diversity, which includes Islam, Confucian, Humanist, positions Asia uniquely. You're looking at Rabindranath Tagore. He focused on how sustainability is not only about limiting harm, but nurturing harmony with others, with nature, and within the self. And this was emphasized by Professor Bibi as well earlier in a speech. This ecological humanism offers a moral grounding to Asia's environmental ethos, one that complements technocentric models with ethical imperatives. If you look at what Confucianism focused in East Asia, Confucian thought provides a philosophical framework that promotes balance, harmony, and responsibility towards nature and community. Scholars like Tu Wei-ming argue that Confucianism emphasizes on self-cultivation and moral leadership that can support environmental stewardship rooted in virtue, not just regulation. This is included if you're looking at the moral education in South Korea, in China, how they're trying to foster sustainability as a way of life, not merely a policy goal. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That is sustainable as well, I guess. We are not trying to wake up Rabindra here or Confucian who may have confused us today. The next slide supposedly focus on Islam. If we are focused on Rabindranath Tagore and also Confucian philosophy, Islam, where we belong to, the majority nation, like Malaysia, Indonesia, Islamic environmental ethics are increasingly being integrated into sustainability discourse as well. The Quranic concept of Khalifa stewardship and the principle of Zan balance provide theological justification for ecological responsibility. So how do we progress? Do we just need to rise or do we need to lead? Asia has risen, but now it must lead. This is a moral calling actually. If you're looking at the Sustainable Development Goals, Goal 17, only through partnerships can we make sustainability real. Maybe by 2027, we hope to lead in climate diplomacy. By 2028, we lead in digital ethics. By 2029, hopefully, Asia can lead in green innovation. And finally, 2030, we can lead in inclusive education and capacity building. That is the building of personality. And to conclude, Asia's rise must not replicate the mistakes of others. It must chart its own ethical and ecological path. Malaysia and Asia more broadly have the capacity, wisdom, and values to forge a sustainable, peaceful, and equitable future. Let us rise, not just higher, but wiser, greener, and together. Of course, it is not a matter of demographics or economic growth. It is a civilizational turning point. We have seen the philosophy of religion that exists in this region. That could be the benchmark, that could be the turning point to see how civilizational thoughts can become turning point. As the region is increasingly shapes the global order, it also shoulders a profound moral and ecological responsibility. From the Mekong to the Ganges, from the South China Sea to the streets of Malacca, Asia's future is being written in its ability to balance prosperity with planetary boundaries and modernity with moral clarity. The case studies that I presented earlier on Malaysia, on ASEAN, on China, BRI, demonstrate that sustainable transformation is not only necessary, but possible. Yet this transformation is uneven. We're looking at the competition between emissions and also investments, fragmented governance, socio-economic inequalities, and institutional inertia remain persistent barriers. At the same time, promising forces, youth activism, civic society accountability, technological innovation are rising to the fore, presenting new opportunities for inclusive and impactful change. Asia's rise must not be reduced to a race. I should repeat this. Asia's rise must not be reduced to a race. It must be understood as a rising of responsibility toward the planet, future generations, and shared dignity of all people. Regional integration and diplomacy, we are looking at how to strengthen ASEAN climate mechanism. We are looking at how to create an Asia-wide sustainability forum, and also how to formalize Green Belt Road standards. If you're looking at the national policy and governance, we are looking at the mainstream interministerial coordination, if that can be enhanced, link SDGs to national budgets, and also how to strengthen local governance capacity. We're looking at civic society, youth and academia, institutionalized youth voices, support transdisciplinary research. Maybe that can be done in Lincoln University College, and also enable open data for transparency. If you're looking at innovation and financing, how can we scale climate finance in Asia? How can we foster ethical AI for sustainability and also promote green Islamic finance? At the end, from developmental state to moral statecraft, the next chapter of Asia's rise must be written in ethical ink. The region has long been seen as the world's growth engine, but it must now become the world's conscience. The SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, the global must be reinterpreted through local wisdoms and traditions that resonate